Hi, welcome back to my channel, Beautiful Minutia. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany and welcome to day 6, I think day 6 of the 12 days of Christmas. Today I am actually bringing you my January TBR, my very first TBR of 2024, which is exciting. It's a little smaller than some ambitious TBRs I've had in the past, but that's intentional. I went with a doable TBR for January. Who even am I? So I am going to kick off with kind of like buddy reads, group reads, those kinds of things, but I do have an in-person book club, and at the time of filming this video, we have not yet chosen our book for January, but it will probably end up being a sci-fi is what we had kind of discussed because it's a genre we haven't chosen from yet, so it may be a sci-fi, and I already have another sci-fi on here. For Victoria from A Musical Bookworms Patreon, they are reading A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is one I've wanted to read for a really long time. I know it's like super absurdist sci-fi, so I'm going into it with that expectation, but I'm super curious about that one. So I already have a sci-fi on here, but I will probably end up reading another sci-fi in the month of January. For my Patreon, we are kicking off 2024 with a read through of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So we are reading The Fellowship of the Ring in January, and I'm so excited about it. And I love these adorable little additions, but I'm really excited also because, well, I will share this with you when I share a Christmas book haul as well, but Christy bought me this beautiful Lord of the Rings edition that has the original illustrations from Tolkien, and I'm super excited about that. So this is going to be the one that I'm mostly reading through, but I am going to flip through this and like look at the illustrations and the cool stuff in this one as well. I'm also going to be buddy reading the Pickwick Papers with Penny. I'm really excited about that. Every year I choose a Dickens I've never read before and then a Dickens I have read to reread, and haven't read the Pickwick Papers. This is the first of his works, and I'm going into it with a bit of trepidation because I've heard mostly not the best things. I was gonna say mixed things, but I've never heard anyone say that they love this one. I've heard some people say they thought it was fun and they liked it, but it's never high ranking on anyone's Dickens lists. And I think it's because it's a bit more like episodic. It's still pretty long. It's longer than I thought it was because this is a mass market paperback. It's like 900 pages long. So it's probably gonna be a bit of a challenge for me to finish this in the entire month of January, but I am going to try. But it's about these gentlemen who I think, are they newspaper people? I feel like they are. And I think it's pretty humorous, but like I said, I think it's kind of episodic as opposed to having this overarching plot with all these random characters that then all come together in this meaningful, beautiful way that Dickens is really known for. I don't think that that is really how this one goes, and that is very different for Dickens, and I think that's why people don't like it as much. So I'm going into it with lowered expectations, expecting that this is not going to be a new favorite, which might mean I end up liking it more than I would otherwise. Because sometimes when I go into something with low expectations, I end up liking it more because I didn't have these grandiose thoughts of what it was going to be. Also on this list of buddy reads is also the book that is on my classics TBR for the month of January that I am reading Christy Lewis from Dostoevsky in Space, and that is The Violent Buried Away by Flannery O'Connor. This is Flannery's second and final novel, and while we are not doing Flannery O January this year, I'm still doing it in my heart by reading a Flannery book because January feels like it's for Flannery at this point, because I read my first Flannery O'Connor 2 years ago when we did Flannery O January, and I can't get enough. So I'm doing it again. This I think is kind of a buddy read. It's actually technically for my Patreon because every month I allow people to choose a book that they would like to see me read based on a video that I made for them of my bookish buzzwords and anti-buzzwords. So they have an idea of what I love to see in books and what I tend to avoid. And lots of different patrons have suggested books for me to read that they think that I will love. And I have a couple people that want to join in and do this as a reread with me. And that is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. And it's kind of funny that this is January's read because the very first vlog that I did, when they give me these recommendations, I do a dedicated spoilery reading vlog for my patrons. And the very first one I did was Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, and I'm already going on to Piranesi because I just really liked that one a lot, and I really love Susanna Clarke's writing, and I'm really excited to read this one. I wish she has more novels out, but I think think it's just the 2. So I will be reading this in January as well. And lastly, for this TBR, for my Read a Rid project, I have chosen 1 book to read a month, and I am using Chantel Reads All Day's Read Your Bookshelf Challenge to help me choose those books. And the prompt that I have for the month of January is a book with a dog on the cover. So for that one, I have The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. And I have low expectations for this one. I've heard some people say that they love it, but it's just one that I'm like, I picked it up at a thrift store where it was like fill a bag of books for $1. So I paid like 5 or 10 cents for it, and then was like, I've never actually wanted to read this one. Why did I buy it? Which is why it's on my Read a Rid project for this year. So I don't really know. It's about, I think it has like some sort of mystery where he's investigating something, but the main character has a like mental disability, and so that's kind of like impacting his investigative skills, I'm pretty sure. But I mean, it might be really good. I don't really know. I don't have super great expectations for it, but I know that some people have liked it. So if you've read this, let me know whether or not you liked it, because I'm very curious to see. Hello, Editing Tiffany here, and I just want to say I somehow forgot an entire giant book that I'm going to be reading in January. I will be reading Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson, which I did already start. But at the time of filming this, I'm not very far in it. So I guarantee you it will definitely be carried into January. I'm reading it with Whitney Drew. We've been reading through Stormlight Archive and its kind of other connected Cosmere books together. And we'll be reading book 4. So just wanted to throw that out there, that I totally forgot to include an entire book for some reason. So like I said, this is a pretty short video with not a ton of books on this TBR. There are some series that I will likely be continuing. I have been reading through the manga series Attack on Titan, and I probably will be continuing with that this month. And I have a few other books kind of like laying around that are like potentials that I'll pick up if I have time. But these are like my definite books that I am for sure reading in January. I'm really excited about them, so I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. What are your reading plans for January? Are you participating in any readathons? Do you have any books that you're really excited to get to? I'm really curious to hear what all of you are up to and what your plans are for January. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and also subscribe so you can continue to see more bookish content from me. And I will see you again tomorrow.